Hello, everybody. I'm from Wrocław, Wrocław Center of Supercomputing and Networking and Supercomputing. I would like to say something about the small hacking devices. But before I start, I would like to show you some real movie hackers, how it look. See how hackers in the movies are strangers. Look at them looking quite funny how we know about hackers though. And you can see the super hacking machines, of course, computers, but the purpose of hacking is here. So you can see if in the movie hacker is, if quicker clicking the keyboards, there's more powerful hacker, and even the clicking double hacker does mean two people clicks as quick as possible. And of course, the windows are moving around, closing, opening, and so on. But of course, that's a really world. And so if you wanna be hacker in a movie, used to try to learn to write on the keyboard as fast as possible. Maybe or not. Okay, this is a short intro. I'd like to say something. The main theme of this presentation is projects based on Raspberry Pi and such devices, which means I would like to present to you some of my projects where I realized during my work in the security and forensic area, and I would like to show some really strange devices which I can based on this small computer and how realize some really strange tasks. So let's start our main presentation after the short beginning. The security and forensic projects based on Raspberry Pi, but not only. As I introduced myself, Marcin Kaczmarek, CSI from Security Information Team, Wrocław Center from Wrocław, Technical University, and so on. So the agenda is simple. What is Raspberry Pi and others? Quick, fast, and so on. What do we have and what we can? A few words about interfaces and things, what we can do with that. And about my projects, what I realized during my security and forensic work since about 10 years. But of course, Raspberry Pi is about 2 years experience. My experience is about 2 years with the Raspberry Pis. A few words about pros and cons about these devices. And of course, what is the future of these devices? And I think that IoT is not only thing we can do about it, it's a lot more. And last but not least, not only frequently asked questions about this. If you have some ideas, if you have some questions about that, I would like to listen to you and answer. First of all, I would like, sorry folks, but I like foods like that. So Mr. Banley says, this is core, not lead. That means I will say some basic things about it, but not only. You probably use them, you probably know them, these devices, but I encourage to use them, and some ideas here to create some kind of competition. What we can do with the Raspberry Pi, and maybe in the next conference is be some kind of competition. You provide us some ideas to using these small devices to hacking security and forensic analysis. Short intro. What is Raspberry Pi? Why Raspberry Pi and others? The first answer is, of course, I like them. It's small. Of course, it's small. And of course, it's smart. They are smart and small. Using this kind of devices, I could put in the pocket, for example, using the portable power bank. And for example, using the Wi-Fi scanner in my pocket, visiting my clients, for example, and analyzing what's in the air, yes? Some kind of war walking or something like that. Not only, there's of course, yes, it's Linux-based. And the next is, of course, somebody does know, yes, Win 10 is possible. The question is why? If you like, you can do. So, the last things, of course. Yes, we have a lot of interfaces with it. Yes, the fantastic support in society and community. If you visit some forums, other places on the website, there's a lot of information about the Raspberry Pi. Yes, they are cool. I like to program that. That's some kind of fun. Yes, we can use them for hacking. Oh, yes, it is open source hardware. It could be maybe enough. So, of course, there are some cons about it. Some kinds of the number of possibly compatible devices, such as USB interfaces. But we have a small printed circuit board, and we can use different interfaces and devices to connect them, and using, for example, a thin client. So a short information about the possibly and available interfaces, as you can see. The temperature sensor, humidity sensor, gas sensor, fire sensor, optical sensors, and so on, so on, so on, so on. So we get a lot of different sensors, different detectors, and so on, short and more. So what we have on the base, small configurable device with many interfaces and sensors, and full programmable. Access through Ethernet or WLAN, compatible with many USB devices, not all, but many, and a good device for hacking. And of course, we have GPIO, which is the most important part here, I think. So we can use, for example, Kali distribution, Minibian distribution, which I personally choose to my projects, MotionPy to some kind of bugs, some kind of course, bugs to record some, for example, audio or video. We can PoundPy to some kind, this is similar to Kali distribution, PoundPy, you can use it. Of course, we can use the Ubuntu, HoneyPy to build honeypots. And of course, we have a Python. So we have a small Raspberry Python here. Yeah. There's a short information, so back to the right things we can do. There's, of course, other stuff. So, and now it's something completely different. We cannot just use a Raspberry Pi. We have different devices, such as Orange Pi, Banana Pi, QB board, BeagleBone, Android, Arduino. This is not only some fully configured computers, but also some digital devices we can program. For example, Arduino is not a Linux-based, but based on some low-level programming assembler. And of course, small-sized computers for some hacking work is very popular, and I use them for my usual work, for example, for forensic and security tasks, what I do. And now back to real work hacking and real hackers, what we can do with this strange device. Of course, we can use these devices, protecting devices, attacking devices, analyzing devices, and of course, these devices really help. Short about that. Interfaces and things, and I mentioned about GPIO before. So we have a GPIO with the input-output system, but not only. We get additional interfaces such as I2C, such as UART, such as SPI, and so on. So we can connect, for example, to different other devices. And we can program this device to connect directly to the chips, for example. So we can build some kind of interface using, for example, such things like this testing board. And of course, we can connect to GPI, for example, to analyze for about EPROM reading, RAM chips, or something like that. And I use this device in my projects, for example, to read in the contents of the memory chips using different interfaces. And this is very portable and small, so we don't need to take a laptop or standalone computers to connect them to the, for example, memory chips or something, and read the content of the low-level memory chips, for example. Of course, we can do something completely different. The enclosures, this is a rubber duck. So I see the Raspberry Pi in rubber duck. It's like a scanner, so it's good way. It's really freaky, but of course. And the most important part, and the main part of this presentation is projects, my projects, old and new. A few words about that. So we have some additional information. You are welcome. First, I would like to present some network scanner analyzer, a package injector fuzzer on the low level, intelligent audio-video bug for recording some audio-video content from, for example, a server room, ROC IP and ROC BTS for analyzing the Wi-Fi structures and analyzing the mobile phone structures. And of course, more to come. Maybe you have some ideas what we can do with these funny devices. Let's start from network scanner monitoring, acting like nobody expects the Spanish acquisition. So we put these devices in, for example, in environment, in the client environment, connect to the power, connect to the, for example, Ethernet socket in the wall, and wait. Nothing more. It can analyze the packets flowing through all the networks and try to record using Wireshark or T-Shark or something like that. And we record in the USB port, for example, for the pen drive about 16 gigabytes or something. And I put this device in my client environment, wait, for example, about 8 hours, 9 hours, just take it up, going home and analyze what is inside the net. It's small. It's even not mentioned by, for example, for the administrators or for the IT guys, which is extremely small. We can put in, for example, on the switch, on the firewall or something like that. And of course, powered through the PoE port from the switches using of course, some kind of cabling. There's no problem. And this nobody expected, so we can, nothing to do inside, but I put this little device into environment and watch what will be next. This is based on mini-band distribution, which is very small. The basic installation is about 1.5 gigabytes, but with additional software such as you see Nmap, T-Shark, TCP dump, and grab TCP flow, and of course Python, even Bash. It contains about less than 1 gigabyte memory, and of course this memory or storage memory. So one mention, use the USB sticks, not the SD card. The SD card is not quite valuable from this. Use this USB ports. How to program it, of course, that's my project. If you want to have I would like to present some more about that. So, this network scanner can first analyze traffic, that's a basic function, extract addresses flowing this network using some techniques such as MAC address spoofing, such as IP spoofing or something like that. But can also scan I2C networks, serial interfaces, etc., which of course need some additional programming. And for example, if you're using the next generation of the Raspberry Pi, the 3, you can use a Bluetooth scanning, additional, of course, with a built-in Wi-Fi card and additional Bluetooth interface to, for example, for scanning Bluetooth interface. But that's under construction now. I'm working on that to build a Bluetooth scanner and analyzer using this devices. So you can see that this is one project, and I used about more than 30 times in different locations, on different clients, together with the police officers to, for example, analyzing something. And you see, you can bring without nothing, yes? I put it in the socket, put the pocket, go to the client side, and I see, okay, let's see, I put it on the switch or firewall or something, put it in there, and so thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow and get it back. So if some mention there's something inside, okay, there's a good situation, but about 90% nobody noticed that there's something inside here, so the network scanner working perfectly, and I know almost all about inside networks. There's some kind of scanner, rogue scanner or something like that. And of course, using, for example, Wi-Fi to analyze Wi-Fi, you can use that the different, of course, different applications such as Wi-Fi, Kismet, RKTNG, and so on and so on. Working very good and very good. The next part is packet injector, next project, fuzzer, which means we have some kind of small device which provide a fuzzing of the internal network, starting from fuzzing in the low-level packets, for example, to checking the internal flow of the signals, for example, to try to exploit some switches and firewalls, flowing the different kinds of puzzle, using different techniques, of course, based on Minibian as usual, using Yersinia, NPing, Skepi, and thanks to Mike Zalewski, come to emerging fuzzy lab to fuzzing inside the network. So that's the next part. And of course, using Python to scripting and so on. Works just like before. Plug in, wait about 2 or 3 seconds to boot, and start fuzzing. Yes, it's quite interesting what we have next. If somebody mentions there's something going on in the network, it's good. But it's not always, because we have no laptops, notebooks, or even the Android devices. The small devices what put inside the networks, inside the server room, inside the bureaus, usual room, and of course, using the available sockets in the wall, and so on and so on. So we have an injector and fuzzer. And of course, we can use applications such as Fuzzy Lab, as I said before. So for example, fuzzing the websites, fuzzing the internal networks, fuzzing the TSL or something like that. Working as the same way as my previous device. So we can put this device inside the client's structure and wait what's really going. This is not record anything, but try to some denial of service attack using the fuzzer and analyze what's going on and checking if some protecting devices from the client side react some way to detect this device and, of course, for example, block this traffic. Works fine. I'm using it about 20 locations, fuzzers. So we can, I can say that works perfectly. No additional problems with this. For example, there's no hard disk or something like that. It's always contains on the USB sticks, such about 8 and 16 gigabytes of memory. And SD cards is used only for booting the devices. I operate with the multi-boot device based on the SD card. And I heard something about this is possible to boot directly from the USB port on the Raspberry Pi 3, but I didn't check it, and I don't know if it's working good and such as. But I heard something about this possibility to boot this device from the USB port. The package injector, of course, contains only a Raspberry Pi as USB stick, and if we have a Raspberry Pi 3, additional Wi-Fi interface and additional Bluetooth interfaces could also fuzz the Bluetooth devices or Wi-Fi its own using the AirCrack NG or something like that. So this is about the injector and fuzzer. The next project we're working about is some kind of intelligent audio-video bug sniffer. I put this device in the, for example, server room. Here's a camera inside, built-in camera. The camera is, of course, infrared ready, so we can use, for example, additional infrared lamp to provide additional record. Of course, it's based on Minibian, using these software such as SOX. If you know SOX, check it. What is SOX? SOX is a kind of intelligent audio processing, not only for recording and, for example, transferring the combination of the sounds, but also records and start record when the signal comes. The motion application is to record a video port using the internal camera. It is capable to analyze about 4 cameras at once and check it, including the internal device, internal camera, so recording. It, of course, works some kind of web streaming. This small device can record and stream, and through the website, you can access to the device through, for example, Wi-Fi and the observation what is inside the server room, for example. And of course, we can broadcast it through internet if it's possible. Yeah. So I put this device into the client environment. It boots about 2 or 3 seconds, quick boot, and start to record audio and video. So I can connect, for example, from external locations such as from the other building or downloads from the other building, and try to connect to the Wi-Fi and, of course, observe what's going on inside. So this can do audio, can do video, it can do both. It can even do more. For example, provide some information about temperature, about humidity. If we use, for example, the additional interface such as, for example, a humidity and temperature sensor, which I have here, and provide the complete information about the environment, which is intelligent bug, yes. Of course, we can detect, but this is recording devices related to the physical security, not only the internet security. And the most interesting part with the Raspberry Pi is ROG devices. ROG devices, what is the ROG devices? As a false IP on false BTS, as I mentioned. I'd like to mention that about 2 hours ago, I was provide additional confidence ROG IP. I think that some kind of recorded how many clients can connect to this IP, not to the right, the confidence CCID. I check it. Working just simple, just scans the air and analyze the SSL IDs and provide a ROG IP to catch clients. Yes, that's simple as hell. We're using reward driving if we're walking in the pocket, using the power bank or something. We're cycling also, and in the future, it's most possible we're flying using drones, for example. If we use the Raspberry Pi ROG IP to, for example, fly over the location and try to catch the clients with it. And of course, can work as a jammer to the Wi-Fi device. For example, if we need some stuff like provide as many as possible CCID can act as a jammer for Wi-Fi. And it looks like here, some here projects, but not my projects. Small with the antenna, for example, in the Lego base enclosure and something like that. And ROG IP, what is the pros of this? It can put in 2 or 3 seconds as well. And of course, provide complete information about the clients which can connect to this device and collect as much information as possible to, for example, record the traffic inside using Wireshark or T-Shark or something like that for future analysis. As I said before, it's conal values. I use a CrackNG or Kismet for that. Set ROG IP and wait, just wait, and of course collect this information. So this is about the ROG IP. The next is more complicated. The question is, what is that? Who knows? It's called Stingray 2. Who knows about that? Yes, it's for BTS. What's the purpose of that? Of course, to collect all GSM traffics through this device. But there's a very problem with that. What is the problem with that? No, the price. The price is about, I have something about $10,000 or more. And this is by government to sniff the GSM traffics, for example, for policies of FBI or something like that, NSA. So, of course, we can buy it. But why? It's not quite necessary to buy it, provided that $10,000, for example, or even more, to construct this device. And we can use this small, but of course not only, to provide as some kind of BTS, false-based. Stingray, mobile BTS, working from something. Let's short a look how GSM works. Probably you know as the BTS, now BSC, MSC, and so on, so on. The communication, the first thing is, of course, BTS. So we can attack the GSM network here and the BTS and provide some kind of false IP, just like to connect to this part. And of course, we can use some kind of man-in-the-middle attack to provide forward communication, or just block the communication on this level. For example, if we have a phone and we can connect to the false BTS, you can never know about this all. Yes, a connection is realized, but we know is this false or right BTS. So the man-in-the-middle attack on the GSM network is very hard to detect from the phone. But, of course, the future networks using the additional protection is not quite possible, but working on it, maybe in the next projects include. So, the previous device cost $10,000 or more, and this is a card which can act as a BTS device, which costs only about $400. Yeah. So we can use it. This is called Blade RF, and the Blade of software using the radio module. The producer is Nuent, and of course can tune from, you can see, at 300 megahertz to 38 gigahertz, as of course needed. Of course, we need antennas for that, and of course we need a Raspberry Pi 3 or even a Raspberry Pi 2 to control this card and analyze, and of course working as a GTS and a pack of software. I would like to show you how it works, but the Chinese producers cannot send it me before this confidence, so maybe next time. I would like to show you the power of the ROG BTS, how to collect all communication related to the GSM, and I would like to present how it works. Maybe if you want to check how it works and how it could be connected to the network and using the different phones, excluding the 3G or UTMI and something like that. It only works on the GSM level, but I'm working on it working on the highest level, for example, Edge or something. So the total cost about this ROG BTS is not $10,000, and we can go down to about $1,500. That's why I like this device. How it looks? It looks like that. You can see a Raspberry Pi. You can see the power source here. You can power source the Raspberry Pi, control these cards, and using the ROG BTS. As you can see, it's just like the suitcase, and just like moving the suitcase and walking around with the ROG BTS could do. How it looks? What is the purpose? Of course, management the attack on the GSM networks. The next part is next project, what I'm working now, sorry about that, is something going on. Yes, there's Monty Python, I like them. This guy's Raspberry Python tutorials. So back to the presentation of BTS, and the next is a Bluetooth scanner. So some kind of ROG Bluetooth device. So we can do Bluetooth. Of course, the professional device are available, and at the cost about $5,000 or $6,000, or even cheaper. You can scan a Bluetooth device and analyze the communication between. But as you can probably know, the Raspberry 3 has a Bluetooth module inside, so it needs only the proper software, which make sure available soon, so we can scan the Bluetooth device such as Wi-Fi and such as a GSM. So we can see that these small devices can do anything we want to do against the protecting, attacking, and analyzing the networks. And the idea for some kind of competition to create the ideas to create some interesting projects based on the Raspberry Pi will go. So I think that the next conference will be some kind of competition to analyze your projects based on these small devices. And maybe if we have some questions about this, of course, about the interfaces, something like that, the part of the question are we after the presentation. Bluetoothing, of course, so we need. So we have Wi-Fi, so we have a GSM, so we have a Bluetooth, maybe Ethernet, of course, is built in, so I did mention. Okay, so let's see what's about pros and cons of the devices. The pros, of course, small, reliable, portable, easy powered, only 5 volts and about 2 amperes. Fully programmable, quick start, just seconds, and go. But of course, this device has some cons. Sometimes it's slow, yes? Sure. Sometimes it's not quite efficient. For example, in some tasks, the power of the internal 4-core processor is not enough. For example, if we provide some kind of thin client through website browsing and something like that, it can be slow. It can be quite not efficient, but sometimes, depend on what we want to do with that. Yes, but this also teach the other devices that's not fully supported by some devices, especially drivers for some USB devices, but we're working on that. Last but not least, sometimes get hard, because I didn't mention, some information about the internet talks the Raspberry 3 under the high level of, and it can grow to about 100 degrees of Celsius, but I don't mention it. But yes, it's warm, but not hot. Maybe some. But of course, I provide additional protection using the simple radiator mounted on the main chip, on the main processor. So the pros and cons. But the clue is, yes, I still like them, and we have still something to do with them. And of course, this is open source. You can do anything you want to do with them. I have about 64 Raspberry Pis by my side, and about 30 different operating systems, 13 different projects. Here's a few of them, but I can talk about the, for example, VPN testers, VPN connectors, some kind of protections, working as APs, working as a VPN APs, and so on, so on, so on. But it is a there's simple projects which need to go. I concentrate some ways to construct the devices based on these computers from the security and the forensic point of view. For example, another project what I realized is a quick copier of the disk storage using these two USB ports as a SAT interfaces and connect to disk to DD, the copy, that's bit-to-bit copies of the two disks. It also can be used. So this is the open world of open hardware and open world to more projects, not only Microsoft-based, but of course Linux-based. So we can do anything we want to do. So the last but not main question is, what's the future? Somebody has said no future of these devices, but the future is near. We're still waiting for Raspberry 4. And the community information said what we need in the next devices. So do you want something more? Yes, of course. So what we really want. First is USB booting, to directly booting from the USB sticks, not only using the SD card socket. Could be possible, I've not checked it in the Raspberry 3. we need more RAM or just some kind of DIMM socket on the Raspberry, the kind of socket using in the portable computers. It really helps. For example, if we need more RAM, there's a problem really here in this device. It's not possible to expand the internal RAM. But if we, in the Raspberry Pi, meet the DIMM socket, it could be possible to provide as many RAM as we can, for example, need. And of course, SAT interfaces. This is available on different versions of the Raspberry, that I mentioned before, Orange Pi, BeagleBone, something like this. A lot of configuration options here, the processors, the internal devices, SAT interfaces, other interfaces. But the most important part is, of course, the GPIO, which can be used in the low level, detecting the device, and low level hacking the device using some stuff like provided by securing IoT, breaking the IoT devices, or even breaking the low-level chip, for example, to read the contents of the chip memories using the different additional interfaces. So not only frequently asked questions. The questions, of course, a lot of questions. The first, of course, what is your favorite color? But my color is black. That's wrong. Have you any questions about my projects? Have you have any questions about the future projects? I would like to show you some operational, but have no really short time to that. But if you want more information, of course, we can talk about this. So we have any questions about these presentations, please ask. And do you have any ideas regarding this intervention, or even you provide some interesting projects using the Raspberry Pi? Here my friends want to say something about that. I can show you a small device, yes, based on the Raspberry 3 or 2? 3? It's maybe on the okay.
Yes, and now something completely different. Do you remember what the guys in red tell? Nobody? Expect? Exactly, and you are the winner, and you will get Raspberry 3 in the complete with the SD card, and super supply. Yes, this is sponsored by ISSA Poland, the non-profit organization, and we start project about the Raspberry Pi. So if somebody want to join to our project also, this is another way.
To mention the properties too, not afraid to asking the questions, yes? So you can use for example, when the Raspberry Pi. Of course, it's very powerful. Of course, it's cheap. Yeah, that's the most pros of this device. It's cheap and very reliable and compatible with this. So if you have any ideas, you're welcome. Maybe we have something for you more, or maybe not. Yes, of course, there's a lot more projects based on the Raspberry devices, or even the mentioned before or Droid or something like that. Even you meet these devices on the station of the securing using this device to control something. Of course, we can use this Raspberry Pi to control. I see that they're controlling the drones, they're controlling the robots or something like that, but it's not related to security. Maybe or not. Concentrate on security. Yes, of course. This is a cool device. I use about 64, I say about 64 device in my side, even to realize different tasks, such even as a servers, using the domotic application to control the home. Yes, of course, it's vulnerable to different attacks, which is discussed before. So we can use, for example, to watch TV using the DVB-T interface and so on. So the growing number of different level projects, different levels of applications, different levels of the small device, which is easily put in the pocket. Use it using the power bank, portable. You can, for example, I would like to mention, I have a car, and the car, I get 3 Raspberry, 3 devices for controlling the internal electronics in the car, and even to record some from the cameras, from the forwards and from the backwards to, for example, if I want to know what is going with my car, I could just connect through the Wi-Fi to the car and checking everything is okay for something, some bad guys who want to, for example, stole my tires or something like that. But of course, it works inside. It's not quite big. It's very programmable, very flexible to the program. So I encourage you to use this device to provide your own projects. And I think that idea of competition and the next confidence is to provide some kind of a win or so, something to win. If you provide us very fine projects about these Raspberry devices, I'd like to reach. So thank you for your patience. I will be boring, maybe boring, so sorry about that. But I would like to mention the idea of open source hardware is very open. So nobody expects we can do with these small boxes, and it works. Short, briefly, any additional questions, ideas, welcome. Any problems, of course, we can discuss. If you have some additional information, maybe you provide this or similar projects, or if you're working at that, I think there's a future market of this kind of devices is open, and really open for the security and forensic projects based on that. And as a hackers, we need to know everything about that. And it's simple because it's simple as hell, yeah? It's small. Some guys told me that a possibility of some kind of vulnerability inside the microprocessor use it. Maybe, maybe not. I just check it. I just check this inside the what is inside the processor, and nothing bad is at all, because there's no BIOS, there's no additional application inside. We can boot directly from the SD card or USB sticks. So please use them. That's all from my side. Thank you very much. And you can show how it works here. Thanks to friends, I have no ideas, but yes, it's fully operational computer.
With LCD, with small power bank, and based on Kali Linux.
Yes, Kali Linux.
Everything is inside.
I put it inside my pocket, go to the server room, and what we can do is say, analyze it, anything we would want to. Thank you very much. You're welcome.